Hi, I'm Tim Taylor. Ever wonder where the money came to pay for those window shades? Ever wonder where all the money came from to put computers in the hands of every student in Ames? I can tell you that it came from the Physical Plant and Equipment Levy. We sometimes call that the PPEL levy, PPEL, and you're going to see that on the ballot for the school board election, which is coming up on September 12th. The important thing here is that the Physical Plant and Equipment Levy is one that is voter approved, and it has to be approved by the public every 10 years. And this district has supported the PPEL levy since its institution way back in the 80s and 90s in the state of Iowa, and it is a very critical element to our annual budget. It brings in nearly $4 million for us in what we call categorical funds, and by categorical it means it can only be used for specific items. And those specific items generally include maintenance and upkeep of our facilities, the ability to buy expensive equipment, and for repair and remodeling of buildings and our facilities. It helps us with our plumbing and electrical and overall remodeling and additions in those particular areas. It pays for mowers and vehicles for our maintenance department, and it helps with doors, windows, and yeah, if you've noticed, all of our elementary buildings and all of our new buildings, actually, including the middle school, have nice new shades. There were almost several $100,000 of window shades that was paid for by PPEL so that we can actually provide those in our building. Copiers and printers, for instance, are all part of this PPEL fund. One of the other things that I would tell you, as PPEL has paid for the remodeling and improvement to both the playground and the parking, but also the drop-off and turnaround at Northwood School. It has paid for additional fill so that we could add much more green space to Edwards now that they have an additional full soccer field. It's paid for this summer's project relative to Ames Middle School, where we have added a concession stand, added restrooms, and paved the track on the athletic fields. In the past, it's helped us with the high school stadium project. It helps us with all the new furniture that we have now in our current elementary buildings. It's a huge, huge part of our budget. I didn't want to leave out the fact that our PPEL fund paid for 6 new sousaphones at a cost of $36,000 for our high school band. It's also helped in our orchestra program for some of those expensive musical instruments. Maybe you saw the photo where we were unpacking, 1,200 new Chromebooks for use for our students. Without the PPEL fund, our very fragile general fund budget really would be impacted. Our general fund budget is much like your house account. It has to pay for all utilities. It has to pay for supplies. It has to pay for salaries and programs for staff and for kids. As a matter of fact, if we look at the general fund budget, 80% of that goes for staff and programs for kids. 15% pays for fixed costs, which homeowners, much like your utilities and repair, supplies, everything else that's associated with keeping this district together. And the last 5% is mostly on more consumable items such as paper, pens, all the things that kids need when it comes to education. Without the PPEL fund, we would be reducing about $4 million out of that very fragile general fund budget, and the impact would be, in my opinion, devastating. Where those $4 million would come from would obviously impact not only the number of staff that we have, but programs and opportunities for kids. It is singularly the most important support levy that's provided by this community to this district on an annual basis. In closing, it's going to be on the ballot on September 12th when you go to the polls for the school board election. And I'm just encouraging you that as you vote, to consider the PPEL budget and vote on that day also. Thank you very much.